We're handing out some free promotional items at the back of the store. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, I'm Musical Phantom 204. Today is the second part of the Work Storytime video series. I really appreciate the support from the first video. For me, it was I don't usually do anything bold like that where I actually talk about my real experiences, my real opinions about things. I'm very thankful for the support that I have gotten from like family and friends and former coworkers about those experiences. I really appreciate that, so thank you guys for that. It felt kind of freeing talking about it, and so I'm just in a really good mood. You know, I'm just really happy to talk about these experiences. I want people to learn from like my experiences. I'm so excited to talk about the marketing job. I mentioned in my last video that towards the end of my target career, I ended up getting the job doing the marketing job, and I ended up quitting. So it was right before I graduated, and I still haven't heard anything back, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna quit Target yet or not. And I decided to do some soul searching and try to look for different jobs on LinkedIn. I was looking for jobs in the area that I was going to be moving to with my fiance, and my friend was helping me try to find some jobs, and I came across this job. I'm not going to list the company's name just because out of respect for them and respect for whoever's affiliated with it. Basically, I was like, oh, cool, you know, like an event planning or an event management assistant position. Cool. That sounds pretty good. I can start building my career up as I go. Something stable. Stable. You know, I apply. I send in my resume and my cover letter. And within a couple of days after, it was like maybe 2-3 days after I applied, it was right before finals were really getting in, I got a call from what would be the receptionist from the company. And we had a pleasant conversation on the phone, kind of talking about what they do. For myself, I was like, okay, you know, what is exactly this sort of job? Like, can you go into detail? And he's like, oh, this is actually we're a marketing company that promotes products through direct marketing. And we do in-person marketing. We're talking to people inside the big retailers, and we try to promote them. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah, you know, you just start off like just learning about some of the stuff in the company, and then you'll grow within the company, become a leader, and then you can become your own business owner one day. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting. And he's like, yeah, you got the interview. When can you come by? Like, can you come by tomorrow? And I'm like, no, I'm graduating tomorrow. Literally the day after I graduate, I travel up to where my fiance and I had our new apartment at, and I stayed there the weekend, and I went to the interview, and I go in, and I go inside this very tiny front office, and the interview, I don't really know how to describe it. Like, he kind of introduced himself. The president of the company introduced himself to me. You know, we talked, and I talked about my experiences working in theater, doing the school newspaper as their business manager, and talking about my experience in retail. And he was like, oh, you know, cool. We were just talking, regular conversation. And he's like, yeah, you know, if you hear anything back from us, you got the second interview. And I was like, okay, great. The next day or two, I heard back. I got the phone call from the receptionist again. I got the second interview. But he was saying, oh, it's going to be inside of a big retailer, and we're going to send you an email that has the address. And so the day of the interview, I get the email. It does not say which retailer it was. It was just a simple address. So I drive to this location, which it was like a city away from where we were living. I was like, I get there to this address, and there's like a Sam's Club, an Academy, and a bunch of these other businesses. And I didn't know which one I was supposed to go into. And I was like, what? I decided, okay, I'm going to go inside the Sam's Club. I couldn't find my interviewer anywhere, so I had to go to one of those like little like the tub specialists in the front, and I was like, could you help me find the manager, because apparently I'm supposed to have an interview here. And she was like, okay, and she finds my eventual marketing mentor. We conducted the interview. You know, like when we got to the table, she pulled out her laptop. Thank God she had stickers on it, like Harry Potter stickers. And I was like, oh, thank God she has a personality. Thank the Lord. Conducted the interview. Then she takes me to the booth where she was promoting the brand. I didn't know it was going to be exactly like that. Like, I looked at the booth and I was like, oh, it's one of those. It's one of those jobs. Ha, okay. But I try not to take it too much to heart. I was like, okay. And she had a big PowerPoint and it had all these different slides on it. And, you know, she was expecting me to take notes. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was glad enough I even had a notebook. I wrote down the notes and she was like, oh, can you quickly go through some of the stuff that we covered? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll just read off my notes. So I did that. And she was like, okay, well, if you hear anything from us, you know, just... We'll call you and let you know what's going on. I'm like, okay. A week later, I got a phone call. It's right before Christmas, and he's like, yeah, you were like one of the top 5 applicants that's in for the 3rd round, and you know, this is so exciting. And I was like, okay. I go for this interview like the next day, and it turned to be like a 10-minute like ask question, answer question sort of thing with the president again. Very, very brief. Then the next day after, I get the phone call that I got the job. And I was like, oh, great. You know, that's really awesome. I'm really excited to see how this is going to go. And by this time, I didn't hear anything from Target. And I was like, you know, I can't wait like this because I'm moving, literally moving. Like, I am taking clothes with me to this apartment that's 2 hours away from work. I can't like commute 2 hours away every single day to work in a cafe for only maybe 5 hours if I'm lucky and be traveling 4 hours a day. There's no way I'm going to do that. I'm moving. I quit the job at Target right around New Year's. And I started the job January 2nd. Now, I had no idea what I was going to be walking into. I really didn't know. And so I get to the office again that day. It was interesting. It was loud. They were playing like morning motivational music, and I saw the girl from the interview who ended up becoming my mentor. And I was like, cool, you know, someone familiar, great. I started off, like, we started like the basic orientation where everyone sits down at a desk, and you know, they kind of go over like the pay thing, like how they would track the things. They used like 2 separate apps. It was really weird. Actually, one was for time logging, and then the other one was used for, like, taking pictures of, like, where you were at. Like, you had to take pictures of, like, a booth and send those in just to show that you were there. And I was like, okay. About kind of things like what they do with the company. Like, we had electronically signed documents. Like, for example, there's the at-will employment agreement because we're in the South, so you get fired for anything. Then the arbitration agreement, which basically is like, you know, you have no right to a jury trial and waiver of class action, collective, and representative actions, which was kind of a red flag for me, considering I'm the granddaughter of a lawyer. Talked about like the cell phone and the company stuff like that. About per diem, which really wasn't that much. It was like $8 and some a day, which is bull. About your health insurance and all that jazz. You know, we had to sign these documents for it, like, just to kind of show some stuff. And I was like, all right. Go and get past all the boring orientation stuff, and we get into what they call the impact meeting, where the mentors would come in, and then they would bring you over to the whiteboards that were inside of the classroom. And just to kind of give you an idea of what these were like. The first one I learned was called the 5 Steps to a Conversation. Really big about what they called C factors, where you smile, bring eye contact, because that builds trust. Enthusiasm, which creates curiosity. It's like psychological ways to trick people almost. Like, instead of saying retail, you could say wholesale. Instead of, like, you say save on retail, spend on wholesale. Save dollars, spend bucks. Save the high cost and spend on the low. Fuji was an interesting one. Fuji represents fear of loss, urgency, greed factor, and indifference. We had the last one, which was called the 8 Great Working Habits. 1, have a great attitude, which was one of the biggest rules that they ever had. 99% attitude, 1% ability. Be on time. Be prepared. Work a full day, maximize your territory. So you had to talk to every single individual that was there. Protect your attitude. So don't lose your attitude. Quickly regain it. Don't be human. Know why you're here, what you're doing. Really hang out with those people that you really want to be. I.e. the high level marketing mentors that are always consistently selling, and they were getting prizes like laptops or special speakers, and take control of the situation. And then they make you do like a checklist of like teaching back these sort of things as the days would go by. I maybe only checked back 2 during my time there, because after the first week, they put me out in the field, which is basically where you go to a big box retailer and you do pitches depending on what you would do. And with the company I was at, they did a whole bunch of stuff from skincare, household items, you know, personal products and all that stuff. 2 of the big ones I was working with was Somacare, which is a reusable hot or cold therapy unit. And then the other one was a cleaning brand called Whip It. Note, I had received 2 different references during my time with this product. 1, the drug. 2, the song. Just to kind of give you an idea of how long these pitches would be, just to kind of show you really quickly. So these are double-paged, these are like double-paged, you know, pitches that we'd have to memorize. So there'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the one pitch I had to memorize completely verbatim. The other one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a lot to memorize, and then they wanted you to also teach back like forms of this, like of the pitch itself, like how it was structured. Really big scripts I was showing you. They have these things called show styles, where they would give over the PA systems and say, hey, we're going to give out a free promotional item right at this part of the store. You don't have to purchase anything. And it was just a subliminal way for them to come get their free item, and then they kind of trap them in using these different things like, I've got a lot of great things to hand out and show you. I'm going to move through this really quickly, but I need to be able to reach you just so this can go faster and I can move on to the next item. You make people feel special and obligate them to stay. You show how valuable the free gift was. The free gift was an eye lens cleaner. Like, seriously. Like, you can get those at the dollar store. You could order a whole pack of those online for like maybe like, I don't know. Like if you're getting them from China and you get like a bulk amount, like you maybe spend like $10 at most. And the 2 fundamentals I kind of specialized in, because those are really the only ones I could get, were Fundamental 6, which was slowing down and building that package up, and the Fundamental 7 is the comfort level with those customers and backup gifts and kind of pressuring them to buy more. It was just bizarre, to say the least. Now, with me trying to learn everything out on the field, like I learned how to do one-on-ones, which is just supposed to be just one person at a table, and they would just randomly follow people and just be like, hello, sir, or ma'am, check it out. And be very direct and try to bring them over to the table, even though they clearly said no. The nice thing about the company was, like, after 2 no's, you basically let them go. And you're like, okay. So after a while, they kind of got the hint. But they were really trying to subliminally make people come over and check these things out. That didn't feel right to me. It felt very unnatural. And then with those pictures I was showing you, we had to learn body language for it. Like, for example, just to kind of give you an idea, for Somacare, they literally write down, literally in the script, you know, like what you're supposed to do physically, like, listen, I've got a lot of great things to hand out and show you today. I'm going to move through this really quickly, so I need to be able to reach you, just so this can go faster and I can point to, so I can go to the next item, you know. And it felt really weird, and like, me being the actress that I am, I'm like, okay, I can get the blocking, you know, I get it. You're trying to emphasize a certain thing, but it got weird to the point where they were saying, oh yeah, you need to be monotone in this. And I'm like, what? And they're like, oh, enthusiasm, kills it. But then I'm like, isn't it going against the one-on-one thing where the enthusiasm is huge? And they're like, well, I mean, this situation, it's necessary. I'm like, okay. As I was going through the company, I get after like my first weekend working, I worked at a Sam's Club, and I was just so tired. Like, it was 8-hour shifts. We didn't get to take as many breaks as we wanted to. My on-off problem with sciatica that I have, it started to come back in full swing. And it got to the point where I started having back spasms, and that wasn't fun. After the first week and a half, I just kind of wanted to do my research. And I found a couple textbooks about, I wanted to look into direct marketing. And I found a textbook, and I was just doing some research online. And then I came across an actual documentary on YouTube called The Slave Circle, or Juice as they called it. And I was like, that's weird. Because juice is something that we would say in the company for like an affirmation, saying like, juice, juice. I began watching the documentary, and it was all these people's experiences working for these scam companies, apparently, a scam company. And as I was watching the videos, I started noticing those marketing techniques that, that we were going through, like literally like verbatim. And I was like, what in God's green earth is this? And I was like, oh my God, it's the same techniques. It's the same acronyms. It's the same little weird phrases that they say in the office. And I was like, oh my God. And I was doing more research and everything. And I was looking through the textbook, and they were saying that direct marketing has some ethics issues and all this stuff. And like, it literally broke down everything that I was dealing with in the company. And I'm going to send that link down below, because that is a huge documentary. It is legit. And the website that's attached with it has literal articles, like thousands of articles about this sort of like brand or the certain company structure and business, basically. And it made me really nervous. I was really concerned. I even talked to my fiance, and I was like, Austin, I'm kind of spooked. And I showed him a clip of the video, and I was just like, and I showed him the papers and everything, and he's like, oh no. I'm like, oh yes. So as like the second week kind of began, I kind of approached some of the coworkers I was befriending, and I felt like I kind of just talked to him on a basis, and I pulled him aside. I'm like, hey, listen, can I talk to you for a few minutes? And I was like, look, I found something kind of concerning. Do you feel like something's odd with this company? And they're like, I was kind of getting a feeling a little bit. I'm like, just take a look at this. I'll airdrop it to you. So I airdrop it to them, and my alumna buddy, he was looking at the video, and this guy's African American, and his face literally turned pale. Like, not even playing with you. And he looks up at me, and he's like, I'm really concerned. Because he was basically commuting in the same area where I was coming from, where I lived with my parents. He was driving in from there to work every day. And that was a 2-hour trip. 4 hours every day. And then if you were doing an event or something, you would have to sometimes travel out to a far location. So this guy drove. And the first 5 minutes of it, he was just absolutely shocked. And he was just like, something's wrong. And I'm like, And, I showed it to a couple other coworkers, and it really scared me. So we get into getting ready for the second week, and basically they have me assigned to go out of state, about an hour away, and they were going to pay for an Airbnb. It was going to be really cool. I was hoping, oh man, this will be fun. And then we switched to a completely different product, and I was like, oh no, here we go again, trying to memorize it all, because I struggled with the first pitch, trying to memorize it all. I was only getting 6 and 7. Same sort of thing again with this other pitch. But I was trying to memorize everything because I didn't see the brand before I got to the location. So I was like, oh no, like I've never even seen a demo or anything like that, and I don't have this whole thing memorized. And I could tell at this point, like my marketing mentor who was there with me, she was with me at the last thing, and she knows I was struggling with it, and she was like, oh, try these things, and I would try, and I would lose sleep from it. So there was like a time, like I was sleeping in and out from like 9 o'clock at night till 2 in the morning. Then at 2 in the morning, I was like, you know what, I can't stand it anymore. I stayed from 2 o'clock in the morning, and I memorized 6 and 7 for that one pitch. And she was like, oh, great, how did you do that? That was like an overnight success. And I'm like, I didn't sleep at all. And so with that in mind, like the same sort of issue was going on, but I was trying so hard to memorize it all. And she was getting frustrated. And she was like, you know, by this certain time, you know, you should have had it completely memorized and all this. And I'm like, I'm really struggling with this. Like, this is a lot. I mean, I'm losing sleep over it because I'm not getting it through. And normally, I don't have issues like this. I've done theater. I can usually memorize a 2-act show, no problem. You know, like, I never usually had issues with this. But with this, I was definitely having issues with. It was only 5 to 6 pages worth, but it's all single-spaced. And, like, most of the time, 6 pages in theater is, what, 6 minutes? This, with it being single-spaced, like, and seeing the demos in person, they last up to, like, a good 45 minutes. What? You know, at times, you know, sometimes it lasts 16 minutes, but you get the gist. So, something was wrong, and I was just trying to memorize it all. And towards the end of my time there, like, with this campaign, we were making bundles in the back. You'd have to prepare the product and put in these clear bags, put stickers on them and whatnot. And my coworker's just like, I just don't understand why you don't have it memorized. And I'm like, well, I got drilled on it from the other mentor last night at the Airbnb for like an hour and 15 minutes. And I was exhausted. And I'm like, I'm really sorry. You know, and my back that day was having problems with the sciatica. And she's like, oh, I think you're trying to make excuses and stuff like that. And I'm like, I really am not. Like, I want to do well. Like, I want to do well. She's just like, I don't know, are you just not motivated or something? And I'm like, it's not that. Like, I just, like, I'm trying to, you know, do all this, but it's so much. Then you work 8-hour shifts for only $8 an hour. Then I have to split a commission, you know, and I have student loans coming up. I have a wedding to plan. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do? She brings up the documentary. And she's like, I got to see it, and the one coworker showed it to us. And I was like, okay. I told them, I'm like, look, I wanted to talk to you guys about it because this really concerned me, and I wanted you guys to clear this up. Obviously, you guys now know about it. And, you know, I was just like, I'm going to be very straightforward with you. You know, something about this company really throws me off. Like, something's not right. You know, and, like, finding out about, like, with her position in particular, like, I found out if anyone quit or you fired them, there's a potentiality of them having to wait longer because, like, normally to try to get into ownership, it only takes between 6 to 12 months. And then, but for anyone that has, like, someone that quits on them or fired, you know, they would wait longer to get that sort of growth. And I didn't want that happening to her because I cared, you know, like, I felt like I was becoming a friend to her, you know, and I was like, you know, I don't want you suffering because if I'm doing something wrong, you know, you need to let me know. I'm trying. But the video helped me clear up some stuff. She was just like, well, just be honest with me. Do you want to stay here and continue doing this, or do you want to go home? And I was like, honestly, I want to go home. You know, and I was just so tired. And, like, kind of getting back to, like, that documentary thing, like, it was so weird. Like, it was just a coincidental thing that she knew about it because the previous night, as we finished dinner and then after she drilled me on the fundamentals and everything, we watched a video about what is Smart Circle. And I was like, what? And apparently that's where, like, I guess there was some sort of branch from it or whatever. It was like, I think that's what the parent company was. And apparently that's where they got their brands from, or their products that they're promoting from, like through strategic partner alliances. And I was doing my research again, and I found out like Smart Circle has like over 199 reviews about how it's a scam company. And I was like, oh my god. But like getting back to her talking to me, she was just like, do you want to stay with us or not? And I'm like, honestly, I don't. I'm tired anymore. I've been having more health problems since I started this company. You know, I don't feel like I'm benefiting you or the company itself. Like, I feel like I've learned some stuff, but personally, I don't think this is for me. And we left on good terms. I get back to the Airbnb, and I see the girl, and this girl was one of the girls I sent the documentary to. And I, you know, and what was so, like, it baffled me because when I was talking to this girl beforehand, like, she's an older woman, like early 40s, and you know, we were just talking about like how the pay stuff, we were just noticing, instead of like the full 80 hours that we were supposed to get, like they started working us in the middle of a pay period, so we were only getting like 48 hours or so. And she was like, oh man, you know, like that's not even gonna be enough to do a payment on a car. And I'm like, yeah, no, trust me, like I have to pay utilities and I gotta save it for student loans, like trust me, I feel you. And you know, we had kind of like a heart to heart about, like, you know, trying to get our situation settled up. So when I came into the apartment, the girl didn't even look at me, and I was like, so you told them? Okay. I grabbed my stuff, and the girls are hanging out, laughing it up in the kitchen, and I was just like, well, I wish you guys the best of luck, and I walked out, and I drove home. It opened so much up to me, and it was just a life changer for me. Like, even though I wasn't with that company for very long, I felt like that video saved me. So to the creators of that documentary, I just want to say thank you very much, because I sent it to some of those coworkers, and two of the coworkers that I know in particular, like one of them got fired wrongly because he was in a skincare campaign. Most guys don't sell skincare, like guys don't traditionally sell skincare in the United States. They just don't, because, you know, all the weird things that they would say about guys that sell skincare, you know, and then the product wasn't selling well. So he was blamed for that. Apparently he wasn't enthusiastic enough, and that he never scheduled one-on-ones. And then the girl that I sent it to, or one of the other girls I sent it to, you know, she's a single mom, you know, like she's just struggling to make ends meet. And it was just very hard for her. And so with that in mind, like when she saw the video, she was like, oh my gosh, you know, this kind of finalized my decision to quit, because this is good content. And I was like, I'm like, it's legit. Like, it has like source material and everything that's legit. Like, you can actually link to it, and it's legit. Kind of some final thoughts before I end it. When you're looking for a job, please, 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 if that job is offering more than one position at a time, deeply look into those positions. After I quit, I noticed that there was 23 positions available from the very same company on LinkedIn as I was job searching, and I was like, huh, wow, what's up with this? So I went through every single one of those, and they had all the same sort of similar descriptions in it, and none of those positions existed. It just kind of shocked me. I was like, what the hell is this? It just seemed kind of desperate, you know, like 23 open positions, like something's wrong there. You look through those descriptions, make sure, you know, to look through those, like make sure you look through any job description very carefully. Watch out for certain words like entry-level marketing and business or anything like that. You know, you keep an eye out for it, because you might get scammed. Another note, I feel bad for those who are still in that company, because there are some really great individuals that are in that company that are wonderful people. What makes me sad is, like, I'm seeing single moms and mothers that are, like, married and stuff like that, and they have kids, like a lot of kids, get into this sort of program, and they're working their asses off for only $8 an hour, which is still unfathomable to me, because it's barely over the living wage, which is still nothing at all. And they're pouring their hearts and souls into this. And, you know, I just feel terrible, you know, for those who are still stuck in the company, while the owners and the big shots of this multi-structural company, like it is an MLM, like what I got myself into. I didn't even mean to get myself into an MLM, but it basically turned into one. I feel bad for those who are still affiliated with it, because they're not going to see the light at the tunnel yet. If you work there for a long period of time, it looks great on a resume, but I wouldn't put it in future ones. At least for myself, I would not put it on a resume anytime soon. Absolutely not. I just kind of want to leave off with just thank you for keeping up with me on this. I know this is probably going to turn into a long video, and I apologize for the length, but I mean, it was just a lot for myself. For only 2 weeks, it was a lot. It's all still fresh in my memory. But I just want to say thank you for watching. I always appreciate the support that you guys bring to me, and, you know, what you guys do for YouTube as well. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and click subscribe and click the button or the bell for more notifications. Because Valentine's Day is coming up, I want to do something kind of cutesy and fun for, you know, like doing like gift ideas for your loved ones on a budget, or something for the kids, or whichever, you know, or just talk about the holiday itself. Like, I've grown to actually love it now. Okay, thank you guys again for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, night, whenever you're watching. God bless. Good vibes. Take care. Bye.